It's yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, so when you hit and you stay still, come to the side, hit, but this is alive.
Yeah, of course.
So it teaches you to deal with that. Whereas obviously the solidness of this, when you're hitting it, completely different.
Total energy, different.
And the power. Yeah, it's your conditioning, how you develop it. You know, and you had to condition. You know, people like who do Wing Chun. Strongest part of your fist here, closest to the thumb. Yeah, basic anatomy here. But when Wing Chun strikes, predominantly a lot of people in Yip Man they train to strike with these three, like this. How are you going to train the weakest part of their hand, yeah, and effectively knock or hurt someone? So you got to think, what did these guys weren't silly, because if these guys were really fighting, unless they spent a lot of time investing, doing something that they weren't really ever going to use, which we know is not true, because they had the Boxer Rebellion, they were fighting Mongols, they had all internal civil stuff going on, so you had to fight. Granted, it was not all hand warfare, but there were times where you had to come down to it. You had to be short little skirmishes, bang, you come in, weapon, and then you deal damage. Yeah, very quick, very swiftly, and deal with the threat. It wasn't developed to be like a sport fighting type of style where you got many rounds. And even the art of pugilism itself, when you go back before the time of the Dempseys, and then you go back to as far as the Johnsons, the way the rounds were designed were completely different. The length of the rounds were completely different. You know, so these men were literally brutally battering each other, causing serious issues with their health, breaking cheekbones, cracking eye sockets. This is serious life-changing injuries that these guys were causing with their hands, and they had quite a relatively. It was arguable. I remember I've read quite a few documentaries where some of the other guys listened to a few documentaries and read a few like details, historical accounts, where they're talking about some of the boxers' lifespan. But what they forget is that if you look at some of the people like Jack Johnson, for example, before he became a professional boxer, he used to be part of he used to have Royal Rumbles where he used to put these African American slaves into a pit, last man standing would win a couple of shillings. So this guy was used to taking a beating. And I mean, if you get put in the pit with the strongest, baddest guys around, and you have to survive that, and then you're telling that man later on you have to fight just one man in a ring. You know, one man in a ring. These things happen. But then you see these guys, Jack Johnson used to turn up at the place drunk as a skunk and still be able to batter people because he had built a higher, superior level of conditioning, his strength, not necessarily fitness, because he didn't really need it at that stage, because this guy was, he was just a bad guy. You know, bad guy is in using colloquial terms as we understand him today. He was a tough guy, you know. I'm right here! So when you come, you hit, yeah? So the idea is you hit, yeah? And the difference that a lot of people, which kind of to answer one of my other critics who was talking to me about this the other day, he said, I need to get a heavier bag. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this bad boy off one time and I'm going to put it on a scale. What is a weight of what we call a heavy bag? What is it? You know what I mean? So the difference is, ultimately when you reach at a higher stage of boxing, I'm going to get Alan to pop in here and to hit the bag, because he also is a pugilist, done his boxing, done some other various martial arts with me as well, under our Sifu, and we've had loads of tutelage. And you understand the difference of just sending your hand to score points, or putting your weight when you hit and you travel and you're hitting with your whole weight behind you, completely different ball game.